I'm going to start out here with XRP, which, as we see here, has had a very explosive rally uh, in just the past week or so. Now, but my basic scenario here is to complete a series of waves within a minute degree of wave 3. Okay, so basically this degree. All right, so the goal, I think, I don't know, I want to say maybe the midterm is to achieve a test or violation of the all-time high. Okay, now the other reason that I'm opening with XRP is basically in response to an email that I got from a subscriber that I have exchanged emails with periodically, who was proposing a possible fourth wave triangle that completed in XRP. All right, now, at least as far as it goes, the triangle scenario is okay. I mean, it's valid. So let me say to the subscriber, and as I said, we've exchanged emails, and certainly your wave skills are improving. So I want to commend you for that. Now again, this is a perfectly viable count. It's different from mine. Okay, but he called it a running triangle. It's not a running triangle. If it were a running triangle, wave B would have exceeded the origin of wave A. Okay, which under your count is the all-time high, basically a 384. Okay, and then you also suggested the possibility of a triangle forming within wave E, as occasionally happens. Yeah, you could label it that way. It's a little funky looking with the humongous wave A, but technically, I mean, it would not violate any rules or guidelines. So you could do it that way. The reason I wouldn't have this as a preferred count, and I'll show you what my preferred count is in a moment, is I just have a big problem with what amounts to a 7-year triangle. Okay, because the all-time high was made back in 2017. Okay, and then you become this long sideways trend that unfolded after 7 years. So not that there's anything wrong with that. Okay, but it's just not a choice that I would make, And I think we have evidence, and I'll show with my count. I think we have evidence for a far more bullish interpretation and more immediately. Okay, well, we can already count. Well, first let me go here, okay? Because that high at 384 for me is the end of wave 1. Okay, of a larger impulse. With wave 2 having ended in 2020, counting here a 5-wave pattern with a humongous expanded flat here for wave 2. Double zigzag correction for red wave 2. Okay, and now looking to count the internal waves for red wave 3. Because I think that the trend is, it's more immediately bullish than what would be suggested by a 7-year triangle. Okay, so that would be my comment on this. Now, as far as what we can look for in the near term, because I do think we have an opportunity developing here. Again, so we're counting down the subwaves for green wave 3. Okay, and now counting the subwaves for blue wave 3 of 3. Okay, so as far as the internal, and look at what a parabolic run this has been. I mean, to the point where you can't even really count the internal waves of the smaller patterns, unless, you would really dig in here. Okay, but that has been the power of this move. And so I think that we're getting a new bull market launch here in XRP. Okay, so we're counting the fourth wave here as a triangle. I don't think it's finished yet. A, B, C, we still have D and E to go under that count. But ultimately, we should, assuming this is correct, we should see a blast above the $1.27 high of November 16th over the weekend. And ultimately, what we want to see over time, excuse me, is to eclipse the red wave 1 high here at $1.97, rounded off, and ultimately the all-time high, okay, 384. So basically, I've been using the key level for upside here at that 30 cents low, which occurred back in January of 2023. And so basically looking higher in a series of impulse waves. Okay, so I hope that addresses the subscriber's question. Again, let me reiterate, this is a very viable count. Okay, nothing wrong with it. It adheres to the rules and guidelines. But I just think the trend is more immediately bullish than what a 7-year triangle would suggest. Okay, so now I would have posted a crypto update today normally, but so I'm just going to do it live, I guess. So let's look at a couple of things here. Dogecoin, okay. Those who've been subscribed to the service for a while know I don't have a very high opinion of Dogecoin because it doesn't really do anything. But setting my biases aside, I know that a lot of people are interested in it, and so I've started to update the pattern, especially since we started getting the breakout here. Okay, so now let me describe what my overall picture here is. Okay, first, we may get a powerful rally in here, but I'm still counting it as a bear market rally, okay, not the start of a new bull market. Okay, now, what we're trying to complete here is the X wave of what we're labeling here as a double zigzag bear market. Okay, because once this peaks, then we get a reversal below the 2022 low to then complete the C wave, or rather the Y wave of the pattern. Okay, now even if we were to get a blast above the current all-time high from 2021 at 73 cents, it wouldn't necessarily be evidence of a bull market, okay? Because it might simply suggest that a flat correction is still unfolding. Okay, so that and that's suggested by the alternate count here. So we'll substitute wave A and B under that scenario, and then look for a big reversal on wave C. So I think there is an opportunity here, okay? But as the chart here suggests, this should be in its final stages. Okay, so we'll look for a break above the wave 3 high here at 0.4386. Here is a projection for where wave C might end, based on it being a 2 times multiple of wave A here for wave C. So that's up in the almost 55 cents range. Okay, again, it doesn't necessarily have to end there. It could take out the all-time high, but if it's doing it within a corrective context, then my alternate under that scenario would be the flat correction that is suggested by the alternate count. Yeah, one question. Yeah, we just started the webinar a few minutes early. Okay. So to answer that question. So that's those. Let's flip over to the watch list here, my regular crypto watch list. Okay, so near protocol. I really don't like this choppy price action, but sometimes it happens. I think what we're looking for here, assuming that we have waves 1 and 2 in place, is to get another rally within wave 3 of 3. Now, if 3 is of equal length with wave 1, that projects a high of 726 or almost 727. Okay, if it's a 1.618 multiple, then a high up at the 866. Okay, eventually though, we do, to really establish the case that green wave 3 is indeed underway, we want to get a break above the green wave 1 high. Okay, at $9. Okay, so basically, for now, just staying bullish against that 351 low. The AAVE, all right, watching to see a flat correction ended here at the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement for this wave 2. So ideally, we'll soon see 5-wave price action to challenge and exceed the 199.49 high. So as potential targets, here at the 226, a lot more focus here on the, because we still have to see how the internal will see a subdivide within the red wave 3 or blue wave 3. But under that scenario, we could see a move up to 226, or more ideally 260. Okay, which is where wave 3 would be a 1.618 multiple of wave 1. Okay, again, so here we're staying bearish against the 125.73 low. We're staying bullish rather. And just taking a look at injective. I'd like to think that the second wave pullback is over. These are basically waves 1 and 2 of a larger pattern here. Green wave 3, again, we're counting the overall move here as wave 5 of green wave 3 against the 51 low rather of earlier in the year, back in the summer. So we're looking for the initial 5 waves, the subwaves to kick off for this. The goal, of course, if it's rising in wave 5, is to get beyond the wave 3 extreme at $53. Okay. Well, I got a question here. about Matic. So let me just deal with that. One of our subscribers sent the question in yesterday. Now, there's been a big change in Matic. Okay, there was not only a change to the symbol, but basically it's a whole other chart now. Okay, now one time I had been covering it and considering maybe the possibility. I just want to put this on log still. Considering maybe the possibility of an end, but we never got any price action here that boasted any confidence. Okay, now what happened though was at the end of September, because my data feed ends in September, right before they made the switch, to where Polygon is now called, or the symbol is now POL. Okay, so basically, we don't really have a lot of data to work with, okay? Okay, maybe possibly we're getting another impulse pattern. Okay, but so far, all we really have is 3 waves, okay? Almost like an ABC pattern here. Okay, so before I committed to covering this, first I wanted to investigate how this develops. Okay, I say if we have a 1, 2, and then a 1, 2, or 3 count going here. Okay, so for me, it's a little bit premature to give this any regular coverage. You know, but obviously, if I see anything of interest, I'll share it in one of the crypto junkers. Okay, we looked at near. Let me go to SUI. Well, notice that this already achieved the equality projection between waves 5 and 1. However, I don't think that the rally is over. I think we should probably trade up a bit higher here. You know, above the current high here at 394. So far we have 1, 2, 3, maybe a triangle for wave 4. So this isn't finished, okay? This is not finished. So there's still more potential upside here. Now, I guess over time, maybe if the projection for wave 3 is correct, let's just see price action getting up into the $8 range. If wave 5, right now it's a 1.0 or the equal length with wave 1, but if wave 5 were to be a 1.618 multiple of wave 1, then that could get the price up to 665. Okay, and it could be because we don't have a completed 5th wave yet. Okay, so I would say we're probably good to go here for now, at least against the 282 low. But bear in mind that once we can count wave 1 complete, we're going to get a big reversal in wave 2. Okay, so we need to be alert to that. All right. Yeah, Zcash. I mean, one of the things I like about Zcash, even though it basically was devastated in a very vicious bear market, But basically, what I like about it is that this is a privacy coin, okay? And the market has begun to recognize uh, the market has basically begun to recognize, I think, that factor, especially given the fact that there's all kinds of issues about the current fiat monetary system. Now they're talking about introducing what they call the central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. Okay, those are not private; those are centralized. Okay, in the United States, it would be based on the Federal Reserve, kind of being in control of that. Okay, so one reason I think is underlying its breakout. There we go. All right. Okay, so over time, what we're thinking here is that we're getting the internals of a green wave 3 rally, a minute degree rally. Okay, so having completed wave 1 of 3, ideally wave 2. So getting decisive price action above the 48.20 extreme, she should see Zcash projecting higher within wave 3, where there's a 1.618 multiple target here at $76. Okay, so I'm liking this against the 33.10 wall. Okay, so let's just take a look at some crypto stocks. So I have to switch platforms. Okay, I got a question about BACT, so let me deal with that one right away. Well, first, I guess this went through a stock split recently, or somewhat recently. I was just having a very hard time really trying to find a reliable wave count here. Okay, so maybe now that is somewhat resolved in that I think, there's say a 1, 2, 3 scenario unfolding here. All right, so yeah, I guess in the short term, this could achieve the 1.618 multiple. Say if we call this 1 and 2 as a target for wave 3. Okay, I just get a little bit leery though when you see these kind of parabolic, algo spiky kind of breakouts, because it makes you wonder how much underlying participation there is here. Okay. Let me add a volume indicator. All right, so basically we can't even see the preceding volume because of all the volume that was associated with the breakout here. Okay, but even that has begun to recede according to this. So I guess I'll put it this way: it's on the watch list now, or on my watch list, I should say. And it might make the crypto junkies watch list, depending on how much more of this I see. But just at first blush, I think this could probably tag a $40 range from current levels. Okay. So now let's look at the other things. Okay. Well, the Bitcoin miners ETF. It looks like the miners are coming under some pressure again, despite the fact that Bitcoin has been performing so well. Let's try to open this up a little. Okay, so here basically, as far as the previous update that I did on these was concerned, which I guess was last Thursday, we were looking for a fourth wave pattern to unfold. We did get a test just beneath the 38.2% Fibonacci retracement. Although at this juncture, since we're not seeing any evidence of the reversal quite yet, this could still possibly tag a 50%. Okay, before we might get an upturn. But then again, I kind of like to use WGMI as kind of a proxy or rather as an index for the broader mining company sector. Okay, so now let's drill down to some of the individual components here. Riot. Well, what I find interesting about Riot is, and those of you who've been subscribed for a while, it was just kind of making me crazy that it just seemed like this thing couldn't get arrested anymore. Okay, and so finally, though, we did start to see some impulsive price action back in September. And so for now, my premise is that the correction, or the wave two correction here, ended at 636, and so we're keeping the focus to the upside. Again, I don't know whether or not wave four is finished. We don't have a good case yet. In other words, we're not seeing 5 waves up emerging. But just for the sake of argument, if wave four is finished, well, this has gotten so big, I can't even get a decent projection here. Well, anyway, we're obviously looking at something above 1587. Let's maybe try with wave three. Just trying to get at least a sense of where this is headed. Okay, well, it's not working out for me right now. So, but the bottom line here is that, I think, assuming this is the fourth wave, we should get some upside price action to complete wave one of green, wave three. Okay. Now, a goal over the near to mid-term should be to violate the green wave one extreme at the 2065. So we'll want to see if that can happen as this traces out wave one of three. Okay. Marathon, it's got some problems. You might recall from the previous update, I had been labeling waves 1, 2, counting this as wave 3, and then the pullback is wave 4. But wave 4, the pullback is so sharp that it overlapped the wave 1 extreme, so that eliminated that count. So what I've done here is basically to count this as 1, 2, and now 1, 2 of 3. Okay, so here in the short term, the near term, we want to see price action getting above 26.19, ultimately above the wave B extreme at the 27.30 to help bolster the bullish scenario here. So for now, we're staying bullish against the 1531 low. Okay, now the extreme of wave one, here is at 3409, so we would be looking for price action ultimately to get beyond that level as well. Core Scientific, again, we're labeling this as the internals of the red wave 3 that are currently forming. All right, so we're counting the pullback from the 1803 high as a second wave. We are now seeing some effort to rally against the 50% retracement. Okay, so basically getting impulsive price action above 1803 will signal the onset of wave 3 of 3. And maybe a quick and dirty projection for purple wave 3. Let's just check that real quick. Okay, well, the 1.618 is up at $24. Okay, so I think that's achievable relatively soon, assuming that, again, that the wave 2 low is in place. And Galaxy Digital, which has really done quite well. I mean, especially from a 689 low back in August. Now having already tagged 2059, this should be heading higher. Okay, and in wave 5, where are you, wave 5? Here. Okay, so it looks good for a low here, for that wave 4. Okay, so we want to see some decisive price action above the 2059 high. Okay, now of course, once wave 3 is finished, you know, wave 4 is going to come along. Okay, let's consider a couple of possibilities here. Say based on wave 5. Okay, so basically what this is saying is if waves 5 and 1 are of equal length, then that would project the price at 2240 from current levels. Okay. Then let's see, based on the projection for purple wave 3, using waves 1 and 2. All right, so the 2.0 multiple, the level where wave 3 is twice the length of wave 1, is up at 2102. If it ends up being a 2.618 relationship with wave 3, then that will get the price up to 2457. Okay, so you know these are possible, you know, between $21 to $24. Okay, using the Fibonacci ratio applied both to the blue impulse and the still unfolding wave 3 impulse. Okay. So now let me take a look at some of the questions here that we're getting. So I want to bring the crypto platform back. All right. Okay, well, I've got a question here about the fear and greed index, that it's back to historical highs. Yeah, which I noted recently in the daily crypto pro service. I don't necessarily take that as a sign of a big crash. Okay. As much as, I mean, well, let's look what Bitcoin did. Okay. I mean, really, basically a big parabolic run. So, I mean, you get something like this, you know, naturally the sound of readings are going to get very frothy. Okay. But it's been my observation that, you know, things that are overbought, overloved can stay overbought and overloved for a lot longer than you might think. You know, so I mean, I'm aware of it. I mean, I think that maybe plays itself out more in the near term scenario. Okay, where we could see some of those frothy sentiment readings getting dialed back. Okay, I mean, we're allowing that this correction finish, but it might not have. Okay, so you know, well, I'm keeping an open mind here. But like I said, I'm not, you know, I'm aware of it. I'm not too worried about it right now, though, because it seems to me to be within the context of something that is still unfinished. I'm reading through your questions right now. That's why I'm pausing. Okay. Well, the person that asked this question, but which comes up a lot, I guess just wrote the question and didn't wait for the answer. Okay, but maybe on the replay. All right, but basically what he wants to know is, you know, the wave labels that I'm showing tend to imply long-term bull markets. You know, and so how does that line up with what the view of other analysts? Okay, now, first of all, let me say one thing about this. I mean, we have some analysts at Hollywood International that are very bearish of cryptocurrencies. On my side of the fence, we're not. I think the reason for the long-term labels is basically we're kind of watching to see where this all goes, at least. And so, but we're labeling the charts according to their patterns, you know, that we're uncovering here. Okay, now I should say though, that this is tracing out fifth waves at 2 degrees of trend, okay, intermediate and minor. And eventually, even the green wave 5 is going to come along. Okay, so but the bottom line is that the move up from the end of wave 4 is terminal. Okay, once we count this pattern complete, then there is the potential for a larger primary degree bear market. Okay, but right now the coast is clear. I think 100,000 is quite doable within the near term. Then we'll want to see where things go from there. So again, I'm not going by any other people's opinion, okay, and my colleagues on the crypto team neither. We're just looking at the charts, picking out the impulses, the 5-wave patterns, and deriving our interpretation based on that. Shiba Inu, I don't cover it deliberately. I don't like it. I don't like things that are so infinitesimally low in price. Those I look at, because I know that there's broad interest in it, but I can't get behind Shiba Inu. So that's why I don't talk about it. Now Cardano is one that I do talk about. So. And so we've had a similar explosive breakout here as well. So as far as the upside, which is what the subscriber is asking, this third wave rally should ideally get above the wave 1 extreme at 81 cents. I think it's premature to predict, like where an all-time high might end. Okay, since basically we're labeling third wave pattern here. So that assumes that it's going to be a fourth and a fifth. So I guess to answer the question, I guess the minimum expectation is going to be price action above the current all-time high of 310, made back in 2021. So again, minimum expectations here are going to call for a move above the $3.10 high. Okay, that's an interesting one. Okay, is there any significance to Bitcoin dominance in relation to other cryptos? Not as far as the price is concerned, but obviously when Bitcoin is dominant, it tends to be the tide that lifts all boats. Okay, I don't have a target. I would not, speculate too much on a final high for Bitcoin, especially when we still don't even have all the information we need to make that projection. Okay. I mean, we still, this is the one I want. We still, really need to see how and where this wave 3 tops in order to project the top for wave 5. Once we can do that, then we can project the high for blue wave 5, which could end the bull market. As I said a moment ago, I think my minimum expectation is that it should tag 100,000 by before the end of the year. Bitcoin Cash, what's my count? I don't really have one. these days because I've been so frustrated with it. Let me go after the chart. Bear with me here. Okay, now this is a count that I had been working. Let me put it on log scale. All right, so this is a count that I had been working, all right? But the internals are horrible. I mean, really, really horrible, all right? Yeah, let me put this at daily. I mean, this, when I saw this, I really became very discouraged, okay? Because I'm asking myself, why are they doing it like this? All right, because, I mean, I thought there was, and there may well be a good underlying a case here, but we can't, where I had been thinking we had a first wave earlier on, it got taken out by the break below the extreme here. Okay, so say if 2 goes here, then we could be tracing out the early stages of a purple wave 1. But again, this is not high confidence, I mean, and keep this in mind if you yourself use the Elliott wave principle for trading, okay? The first thing you ask yourself is, do I see a pattern I recognize? Okay, and so what you want to trade always are the very clear 5-way patterns. Okay, not this kind of junk that leaves you wondering. I mean, this could be say 1, 2, maybe 1 flat 2. I need to see a lot more structural development before I feel comfortable giving a forecast that I think would be reasonable. So, that's why I've kind of left this one on the sidelines. Okay, what else we got? Okay, it's a good question. Instead of hard stops, do you ever use trailing stops? And if so, where and how? Well, I guess depending on where you're trading and whether or not you can place hard stops. So, that's, you have to explore that with your exchange, whether or not they do that. Okay, now as far as where to set stops, okay, well, we can use Fibonacci ratios and key levels to do that, and that's basically how we would do it. Okay, so here, for instance, all right, we counted the wave 4 triangle complete here at 89,376. So that would be a key level for the onset of wave 5. Okay, so as far as setting a stop here goes, if we got a reversal below 89,376, that would dismiss this count. Okay, and so we would use that as a stop because you wouldn't want to be in this if that level gets taken out, because it could portend a bigger correction. Okay, so that's one way to do it. Again, you have to have a knowledge of the wave principle in order to identify the levels where you would or could place a stop. Okay. Now, hard stops, I don't use them personally, especially in the crypto markets, because there's so much freaking volatility. Okay, that you might get an adverse move that takes you out of the trade, and then the market turns around and goes back up again. And so you're telling yourself, darn, So that's why it's better to use, things like key levels, for instance, in order to judge where you might stop yourself out. So the bottom line is anything that would change the way you're counting the pattern, okay, if such and such level is violated, will be a place where you could put a stop. Okay, that's how I do it anyway. All right, what else we got here? All right, well, we have time for some more questions, so fire away. Right. Nothing coming in right now that I can see. Wait. Okay, Ethereum. All right, let's take a look at Ethereum. We'll take a top-down look. Okay, so here in Ether, you can see we kind of have a similar count. Although, well, basically, we're looking for a move that gets above the all-time high, not this one, the all-time high back in, see if I can find it, back in 2021. Okay, well, on the weekly chart. Okay, so like Bitcoin, what we're looking for Ether to do here is basically to trace out or complete a series of five-way patterns, okay, that basically go back to the beginning of trading. So let me show you that. Okay, so this is basically the historical pattern, all right? So we have primary waves 1, 2, 3, 4 in place. We're counting the move up from the 2018 low as an extended fifth wave pattern, which as you can see is pretty long at this point. So the end game for Ethereum to complete the internals for this fifth wave is a move above the all-time high of 2021 at 48.65. So if Ethereum trades up to 5,000, that would satisfy the whole thing, and we might be looking at that point, for the possibility, of a big correction getting underway. Okay, but so far there's still a lot more upside to go here. Okay, wave 2 is possibly complete, although we don't have evidence quite yet for that. But once that's finished, then we'll be looking for the internal waves of wave 3, purple wave 3, then green wave 3. So you see, this is kind of building on itself in order to complete all of the internals for red wave 5 of blue wave 5, or primary wave 5. Okay, so that's what I think is going on here. I'll go. I dropped it. The patterns were awful, and I don't think I was looking today. I don't think they've gotten any better. So again, if I can't do a clear wave count, because it's not showing up in the chart. I'll pass on it. So I'll go. It's a former member of the watch list, but I took it off when the price action just started getting too volatile and choppy. It became unsuitable for labeling for some time. Do I think that geopolitical factors tie into emotional spikes in cryptos? Well, again, if we consider Bob Proctor's theory of socioeconomics, okay, the social mood is what ultimately impacts the geopolitical situation, right? Depending on how bullish or bearish the markets are. Okay, now I would say the spikes that we see certainly could just be reactions. Okay, like if some war breaks out somewhere, we might see maybe the stock market or the cryptos tanking. Okay, but that fundamentally does not affect the underlying trend. Okay, so there are more reactions, not trend changing events. Okay, so something that's bullish isn't all of a sudden going to turn bearish because of some adverse news. Okay. Well, okay, about Polkadot, I guess you want to know if I have a high conviction. Well, it was getting a little edgy there for a while, but I do think we have a turnaround now, a bullish turnaround on the way. Because this correction, I ended up having to label this as a triple zigzag because it just wouldn't end. Okay, but now we're seeing a significant turnaround. All right. All right, so at least in the short term, I'm kind of labeling the internals for the red wave 3. So that means completing green wave 3 of purple wave 3. Okay. As far as price levels that we want to see taken out on the upside, just to bolster the case for a bottom finally, it's above 654. Would be one above 778. So basically all the levels that are bypassed on the way down. Okay, so we're watching to see now we can get a good impulsive move that can set Polkadot up to challenge those levels. Okay, what else we got? Well, so it might, Solana might get for it. It's not that all that far away from that now. Okay, the all-time high. Okay, this is off log scale, so let me put it on log scale. All right. Yeah, I mean the all-time high is at 258.91. Okay, this is already above and has been above 240. Okay, so it's a hop, skip, and a jump, from where we are to here. Now, we are labeling the move up here as a first wave pattern, basically wave 1 of blue wave 3. Okay, so I would expect probably before the end of the month that this should take out the high. Okay, and join Bitcoin is one of the few cryptos that has taken out its previous all-time high. So I think we're good, excuse me, good to go here. So for now, we're staying bullish against this 206.71 low. Okay, FET, that is, my colleague Jason covers that, so any questions that you have, you should direct those to him. Saya coin. I've actually held Saya coin for a time, but a long time ago. I mean, back during the previous bull market. I'm not really covering it. I still don't like the chart, so I don't have any comments on that. Pepe neither. Pepe is Jason. Question here about Litecoin. I noticed in the past, Litecoin was the last to pump. No, not Ray either. Okay, I don't deal at all with the sub-penny cryptos. Okay, so my colleague Jason is more into looking at those and updating those. So again, direct those questions to him. Well, Litecoin, again, I really can't answer your question the way that it's being asked because I'm not quite sure even what you're asking. What I will say, and let's get to the chart. What I will say is that we've been counting a new bullish trend underway. Since the low here at $49 that was made on August the 5th. Okay. And so basically we're looking higher in a series of third wave patterns to the upside. A near-term key level target would be up at the wave X extreme at 112.80. Okay, so pretty much a red wave 3 rally to get off the ground here. All right, so again, the selling of the past few days is kind of challenging the count here because what we wanted to do was to start to count down the internal waves for wave 5 at 3. Okay, and this wave 2 pullback has gotten pretty steep. Okay, so ideally it ended. So what will tell us that it ended would be to get 5-wave price action above the $95 high. Okay, so again, unless we get an adverse move here that would force me to count this differently, I'd like to be able to stay bullish against that 84.68 low and see this begin to rally higher in 5 waves for purple wave 3, of green wave 5, of red wave 3. Okay, well, we're up on the hour here, so I guess we're going to wrap things up here. Thanks for staying with me and all the great questions, and hopefully we'll get to do this again soon. So I will talk to you then.